Hello, and welcome to Everquest Stormhaven. Almost said heaven. Lockjaw. Oh, shh. Got to assassinate the Lockjaw. That sounds really loud. Shh. There we go. Okay. Lockjaw, hello. And goodbye. What did I get? What did I get? Lockjaw. Hide vest. Exciting. Extended enhancement 1. Very good. Alright, we're already starting off with the bang here. Golden earring. Yes. I kind of wanted to do a video. Kind of wanted to wait until I was a little bit more prepared. But I thought, hey, I'll log on. I will give a brief description of what I'm trying to do, and then I figured maybe some people from Stormhaven will log in or see them streaming and make some comments or questions as I prep my gear. Because what I plan on doing is trying to one group the nest with a gear level that is close to what I had when I used to farm the nest as a single box group. And I do have some screenshots of that era. So I know, like in here in particular, this was tier 3 SOD armor, and this is before double HP was into effect. So nowadays this would have been like, you know, somewhere between 60 and 70k back then. Odds and items did not have double HP and mana for that sake. So you can see I got the 2.0. I know that's the Dreadspire shield, and these are like Broodland items. So I know what the gear level was here. This is definitely not nest ready. I was doing like Dreadspire with this gear, but definitely not the nest. Fast forward a little bit. I remember around this time is when I did Soul Row solo with Madra, and I barely won. I had to use Furious to end the fight, and in this picture I can tell I got basically full Dranic gear, which is what I recommend to people. I can tell I got the Nest Charm here, and then yeah, I can see the 2.5, and then at this point I had 5k AC with dual wielding, 45k HP with basic full bust. And then from here I just know that this was probably taken right when my guild killed Ivy for the first time. So I was taking that picture just out of celebration. And then so shortly around there, Max Dranic, probably in tank mode. I remember I was using the Dranic sword, the Dranic shield, and the Emulic bow, and then I can see I have the Dranic charm, and then pretty much all my gear is the same. So about 5500 AC is what I'm gonna go for, and about 45k HP. I know with double HP, the 45k, it might be hard to replicate this, but I'll see where I get. The main things I want to avoid is stuff that would ignore the comments down there. The main things I want to avoid is like having like right now I have like improved parry 9, which is 72%, where like improved parry 5 or 6, which is what you would have around Dranic level, it'd be about 56%, 46%. So I want to try to get equivalent items like that. So that's the goal. And then I just started in the Oasis Mar because this is the zone where it all began. The first time I saw Everquest was here in Oasis Mar. My buddy was playing it. At the time, like Lukeland, I think was the max expansion. And he was out here with 52 Ranger, which, you know, I was just kind of amazed by the the zone itself. I remember he was just like, he was basically playing the ranger like a druid, because I remember he'd be like, you know, you got to snare and root and then dot, dot, root. I didn't know what he was talking about, but it sounded cool and the game just looked cool. So the Oasis of Mara has always been very special to me. But I digress. This is Stormhaven, a custom EQ emulator server. It's been around for a very long time. It's an awesome server. The content I want to do is not intended to be boxed by a single player, but due to population just going down lower, the server's gotten a little bit easier in some regards, but I just don't want people to like randomly come by this video, start playing the server, and then not group up. Like those screenshots I was showing you were like my guild killing stuff. Like I would go back and like backfarm stuff, but definitely doing like, I didn't come into this server and just work my way up and progress through the whole thing. Like it definitely took a guild to learn the fights, know the content, and it was the best way to enjoy it. My philosophy on like just EMU servers, like EQ EMU servers in general, is I don't want to work really hard for a server that is just going to have GM corruption or anything like that. But I always found like custom legit servers, which is what this server is. The guild lobbies acting as a hub here. And then we got teleporters to custom zones. Actually, I'm kind of going the wrong way to show you the, just in case, again, once again, if anyone stumbles across this video and the server looks interesting, we got all the GMs over here and then our trainers. But we got zones to level. So there's kind of like two methods of leveling up. There's what I dub the old school way, which is like Crush Bone, Unrest, Tower Froze Shell, Vexel. You get the idea here. And then there was a second way implemented. And the second way, you can interchange the two, but the second way seems to be more quest friendly, more solo friendly. So I normally recommend people to that, but truthfully, I've never gone through that content. So you can get up to about 70, 75 on your own. Level 79 is max. This is kind of like entry level, like raid stuff. Like when I started back in 2009, I was just 3-boxing. I had a warrior, cleric, and shaman. You were only allowed 3-box at the time. That's where again the philosophy is. This is not a server that's just meant to be solo. You can do a lot solo, but ultimately you're going to need help. I've seen people go from 6-boxing to 12-boxing and still not gaining any ground on the server. So I strongly encourage to meet up fellow players and group up. Having said that, back then, like Soul Row Tower and Dreadspire were like in game. So I could do some Soul Row Tower. I needed help getting flagged for the zone and doing some of the wing bosses into my warrior guy gear. But I remember fighting wing boss names that would take 40 minutes, just me smashing heal on the cleric and the shaman, just stacking heals. It was fun. And then yeah, so, and then here we got our raid zones, which Dreadspire is kind of like the entry level, and then the Nest, Dranic, Solitaris, Frostgrip, and then like Plane of Growth, Valhome, and TAC B2 are kind of like subzones. They're basically raid zones, but they're definitely Frostgrip level, but they don't work kind of like these raid zones. Like these 4 zones in particular, you get armor, what I call raid armor, and you get to upgrade it. So you first quest raid armor and Nest, and then you upgrade it in Dranic, and then Solitaris and Frostgrip. But enough about that. So what I need to do as I was mentioning, is try to get my gear level down to about a level of this. But I don't have all these items, so it's gonna be tricky. So, and I have like no room, and that brings me to another point. Yeah, I know my UI is busy looking. It's just the way I always played. So, and I got the old models on. I've always enjoyed the old models. So other than that, probably the next hour or so is probably not gonna be that exciting. But if anyone pops on and says anything, see, I got one viewer, but I don't know whom they are. Yeah, I'm gonna have like nothing. Once I get the warrior done, the others are gonna be easy. I can almost craft the dread fireball. I guess what I first want is a place to put my items. Yeah, I can go with no range. Oh, that's one thing I need to do. I need to remember how to bless a item. Basically, my current shield, because I'm going to have to shield tank. There's no way I'm going to be able to downgrade my gear this much and not shield tank. This shield's going to be too powerful. It's a frost crypt shield. But the dread spire shield, I can't put enough augs in there. But I might get away with that. Or I can bless this, and then it'll open up a type 17. I'll have to see. But this has improved parry 5, which is what I want, so I might have to stick with that instead of going to something like this particular shield. Oh, how to bless the shield. I do an aqua. Man, why can't I remember? Oh, I need the gem from aqua, or Uqua. Uqua aqua. Which I might have on this character. Might not. If I don't, then the little blue gem thing. So much crap. Oh, that's one idea. That's my playing a time armor. I might have to use that to fill in some slots. I swore I had a freaking gem on this character, but I must have used it. Oh, that's frustrating. I'm not gonna take the time to back and get it. Does this have? No. But that is a good og. Oh. That's one thing I do need. Oh, I need bag space. I need bag space so bad. This is my Dranic sword. I use this for a very long time. And it's gonna be my, since I can't get the 2.5, I'm gonna have to use this thing. Which I think is a fair weapon. In fact, in that one picture, there's me using it once again. So let's start with that. I'm gonna unaug. So the way this server kind of works is that you quest 1.5, 2.0, 2.0. Some people might be able to 6-box their way into it, but chances are you're probably gonna need help with it. And so you kind of get to 2.0 epic. when you get to raid tiers, even though I said Dreadspire is kind of like the first raid tier, it really starts to pick up in the nest. So in the nest, you quest raid armor, and then you quest your 2.5 epic. And then let me step back. In Dreadspire, you quest miscellaneous slots. So there's like a bow to quest, there's a sword, there's a fist, there's a range for casters. So basically weapons you can quest in Dreadspire. In the nest, there's no quest like that, but you do get the quest for the 2.5 epic. And then the Dranic, the next tier, so Dreadspire, Nest, and then Dranic. And Dranic, there's no epic quest, there's no upgrade, but there is the Dranic item. So there's a shield, a bow, a dagger, a sword, and etc. So that's like the next quest of weapons. Then after Dranic, Solitaris has the 3.0 epic. So there's no like miscellaneous like upgrade to weapons and caster weapons, but it has a 3.0 epic. And then in Frostcrypt, there's the Frostcrypt weapons. So I think that's really cool, just how it stacks. It makes it so the epic stays relevant through 2 different raid zones, and it makes it so like your weapon doesn't become obsolete, because bosses don't really drop weapons to speak of. You pretty much need to quest it. So in Dreadspire, you're kind of like getting your like partner to your 2.0 epic, and then when you hit the nest, you know, you got your 2.0 and then your Dreadspire weapon, but then you're upgrading your epic, and your Dreadspire weapon stays relevant. And then when you get to Dranic, you're upgrading your Dreadspire weapon, and your 2.5 stays relevant throughout the whole zone. So you can see how it just kind of staggers, and it just makes a nice flow. It's just one of the many like great things. And this is my team over here. Originally, again, I started with a warrior, cleric, shaman. That was shaman, my cleric. And then I came back to the server sometime later, and instead of the limit being 3 characters and then 4 of you are a contributor, they upped it to 4 and 5. So at that point, I could box 4 characters without being a contributor. So I added a ranger to the mix because the fights were taking way too long. And then I didn't stick around long, the server was kind of dead. But in 2014, I came back to the server and the IP limit had been removed. So I stuck with 5 characters for a long time. I added the rogue as the 5th. I was a rogue on live. Rogue's always been kind of just my bread and butter. I knew being a custom legit server, I would need a tank, so I just kind of stuck with the tank. But I consider the ranger and the rogue more so my main, if you will. So I just slowly added 1 character at a time. A lot of people come to the server asking like, oh, what should I box? There's no ultimate like box. Melee just tends to be easier with commands. Caster takes a lot more micro, but you can do a ton with the casters. My guild was mostly solo players playing mages and necros, and they contribute a lot to raiding. And that's one thing I think people don't do is, you know, they multi-box and they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to kind of do my own thing. Well, a solo player is only going to stay around so long before they get bored. And really that multi-boxers, they're going to eventually need help. And even a solo player can add new content. I digress. But eventually, I got up to a full group, and a bard was the last. And again, people say, what's the best DPS? I've seen the rogue, the Zerker, and the monk all do equivalent. Actually, my ranger, if it's being like microed really well, it can do the best damage. But it all depends. Just play what you like, truly. And then on that note, my wizard, yeah, remember raid gear, raid spells, totally different ballgame. But it can do crazy burst DPS where some group compositions I've I value DPS their whole group. But again, that's burst versus like long term, where this particular group over a long term fight would do more DPS than my group. It just takes some time to get going. So that's the end of my introduction. Hopefully I won't have to repeat that in another video. I'll probably summarize that when I actually do have all this gear prepped and ready to go. So now I need to unaug this sword a bit. So this AUG is gained. This is type 17 AUG. There's only one way to get it. You have to bless a Emulic Dreadspire item. So you do that through Aqua. And then in Dranic, on the type 0 mobs, there is a scroll that drops, and there's some other stuff. But basically, I call boil down the Emulic item, and you get an AUG. So like so this shield, for example, is the Dreadspire shield. If I get the same bless, it'll get some extra stats. Then if I do the quest in Dranic, I can break it down into the AUG, which is somewhere. It was in the same bit. Which makes this AUG with 25 AC, 500 HP. It's only type 17, so the Dreadspire items stay relevant. And then this is the class AUG, which the first version imbued Ruined Stone of the Champion, not the Tunarian, is a reward for completing a Dreadspire quest. This thing is from Plane of Growth. It's the upgraded version. I don't think it'll make it too powerful. I might have to avoid using it, but the double attack mod and the Warren Rage makes me kind of want to use it, since I'll be shield tanking and my rogue's going to take aggro like crazy. But I'll have to debate that. And then this AUG, I was using it anyway, so I mean, it's fair game. Let's look at this sword. I know I didn't have that. I think the only other thing I'm going to put into this sword is the AUG I had around the time. Oh, I need to go back. No, I still have it. I saw it the other day. Here we go. Frenzy Blow, type 4. It's got 2k hate. This is gained through doing the Mirrormite Proving Grounds. And I can explain that real quick. Mirrormite Proving Grounds is basically, I consider again, when double HP wasn't around, where is it? The Proving Grounds group. You had to be Dranic Plague, but I couldn't do it until I was like higher Dranic level gear, and still was like a really rough zone. Someone new to Dranic might be able to get away in there, but basically you earn what are known as Kunites, or just a type of currency, and you can buy various items, and this AUG happens to be one of them. Much later on in not Dreadspire, but through LDONs, you can get different AUGs. So for aggro, I use The 40k. It's basically this Marvel Spear of the Eye. But those mobs hit for like 40, 50k, so it's not fair to use this. But you can hear the lightning. But the other AUG is fair game because I know I had that around the time of this video, or of that screenshot. And this made a huge difference with my aggro, so I'm going to use this AUG. So those are 3 AUGs I'm going to put into the Dranic Sword. Yep. So with those, it gives me Frenzy Blow, a Raged Dragorn, and then the Stinging Eddy from, again, the Dreadspire Epic, which helps with, it's just a stun proc, so again, a little help with the aggro, because shield tanking can be very rough, especially with the rogue. Heard many people struggle. It's never been too bad for me, but I know there's a little issue with finding a dagger that's appropriate for my rogue, so I'm gonna be on the safe side. That's for a weapon. I don't have the stone to bless that thing. I could no drop trade it to another tune. I don't know about that. I'm definitely gonna need another bait. Oh. Yeah, so I'm not gonna be using that. Alright. I also want to make it so it's easy to re-gear my tune one day. The Reens. I do have cleave on that. So in addition to improved dodge, improved parry, I am going to want cleave and ferocity for crits and double attack. Cleave, I'm sure around Dranic it's around like level 7 or 8. But I think having 10 is not going to be overpowered, and it's going to take way too much work to try to work that out. As far as neck goes, the neck doesn't have any really focus effects that are overpowering. So I don't mind just taking that neck off to get my AC and HP down. The breastplate I probably can get away with. Yeah, I can definitely get away with the breastplate. And then the earrings. Yeah, get away without that. Get away without that. The cloak. Cloak has improved parry, but I'm gonna have that with my shield. Other than that, I can get away without wearing a cloak. Shoulders. Yeah, I can get away without wearing those. This particular bracer, I think I can do without. Yep. The helm I'm going to keep because it has an AE taunt, which the Nest and the Dranic level. So the helm I probably want to keep around. The arms, I can do without the arms. Oh, it has my dodge. Dodge 9 is a little bit overpowered, but oh, I know a solution to this. I know the solution. I had some stuff premeditated. So one thing you can get from Audioin is gear. So I'm going to get the flowing green silk sash, which is about Nest armor. It's got dodge 6. This will work. I will purchase that. That will be my belt. Build that big up. Okay. Now. No, I don't want to do it out yet. Other tunes are going to go much faster because it's going to be pretty much rinse and repeat of what I'm doing right now. The bracer I don't think offers anything really to speak of. Take that off. The legs. They have my ferocity. I don't think anything on here has ferocity. I might stick with the legs. The gloves don't have anything. When I say don't have anything, like they have armor cleave, but I don't use it. And again, I'm trying to drop my HP here. So the only issue I have now is get my AC up. So I'm going to get wrecked. I will get wrecked. That's an idea. The boots I definitely need. They have a stun for aggro. So the boots and helm are the big keys here. Close off. What do I do without this ring? Oh, it's got the cleave. Oh, darn it. Let's see here. So basically I need to get my AC up now. Which if I take... Oh, there's shield. Oh, that's right. Damn. That's where I need type 17. More of one my other characters has. This is the page you need for to break down the blessed amulet item. This with 300 Kunites. With the 300 Kunites and Dranic, you buy a box from the merchant right at the zone entrance. You say like black market, and then he offers you a box. So in that box, you combine your Dreadspire item, this scroll, and then 2 bobbling something that drops off Dranic trash. It's not on this turn. Came on this turn because I wanted to see if I have a gem from Ukwa so I can bless that shield. I really want type 17 Og. But there it is. And I had to no drop the poor warrior. All nude. So on the server, if you're a contributor, you can no drop trade items to another character. You can do it once a week, so I'm gonna have to burn it here, but hardly been playing, so worth it. Gosh. He's like, what up? That is take. Hope I don't need, I think I only need this gemstone. I don't know if this character can port Aqua on their own. That bow was shrunk. Ah, there's the Dranic bow. I'll have to use this. There's an item that ports you to Aqua. This might be it. Oh, this takes me to Tacky. Oh, Timeless Charm. Oh, that's one item I can take off my warrior. Charm. I have to use that. Basically, this ranger would do too much damage, so I'm gonna have to downgrade my arrow a little bit and my bow a little bit. By skipping over the bag that Farewell could have not eluded game that I seek. I have my warrior. Stop messing around. Come on. What the heck is this play thing? Ah, that might be it. Oh, it's this. Ah, there we go. Alright. Now we're ready. Where's that ranger? And this is how I box. I just know warrior, cleric, shaman, ranger, rogue, bard. I just have them in order. Hopefully I remember how to do this part. That music freaked me out. I'm used to having no music on because if I turn music on one character, it comes on them all. And yeah, so kind of like I'm hearing stuff for the first time. I rated the zone on live. It was nasty. Holy heck. Yeah, it has traps, so I just remember you hit it, a trap, and like a bunch of mobs to spawn. They are all truck hitting. There was like a AE mechanic going on. They had to loot an item to mitigate and the. So this person I think offers the you have to get the pages from Tacky, but once you get the pages, you're pretty much flagged to bless a item. Can't remember if it was them I hand the items into. Probably is. That starts the zone. Might have to look on the wiki. Friendly wiki. I'll bring the wiki over. So one thing that's great about this server is the wiki, which has like a lot of great information. So like quest, a lot of zones. This site's great for everything except for SOD. A lot of people ask, where's the information about SOD? Just use the live version of Alakazam, and it pretty much goes through the right progression. So quest is pretty much a good page to get the custom quest. The other main page that is good is zones. Not necessarily zones, but yeah, I guess zones. Yes, it is zones. So if you want information like on Dranic, a raid zone, go to Dranic, and you would see how to make the armor, Dranic seal, and then information about the raid mobs. So there's a little bit of a clue that someone has hinted at a part of the strategy for that particular boss. So I consider this the Bible, the holy guide. So I'm looking for a list of augments. Oh, that's not true. Where are these from? Sometimes you don't get good blast. So even here it tells you about Okwa, about the AE that's going on, the walkthrough, and some information. My goodness. Search Dreadspire. These are just Dreadspire weapons, but for how to bless them. Probably on the quest page. I'm sure as a viewer you probably stuck out like might have to go to the other. Oh, come on. I'll just risk it. Screw it. No, I want to make sure this character is actually flagged to do this. Then okay, what was that? I wish I would have grabbed the stats before, but basically it gained like 10 AC, looks like, I think 500 HP, and it has another slot 8, but it doesn't have a slot 17, which is actually what I was going for. But gaining that extra slot 8 will accomplish... I can't trade that. Dual gate. So that's how you bless the item. Alright. Oh, so I'm gonna trade the item back. So with the no trade vendor, you can't have odds in the item or it doesn't work. So I'm gonna trade it back. And then it tells you what date you can finally, your cooldown will be up. And then if you want to, like on my ranger, I can hit return and she would take the item back and it wouldn't consume the cooldown. Alright, so now I got that. I didn't get this type 17, but what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna pull out 2 Augs out of my old shield. That will have more than enough AC. Shouldn't say more than enough, but it'll make up for the AC difference between this one and the Dranic, because I don't want to bother getting the Dranic. So this AUG has 50 AC, and this AUG has 40 AC. AC in the shield, I don't know the exact science behind it, but basically it doesn't go against the soft cap. And I know that the Dranic shield, like right off the get, is like 270 AC, which is like if I had this 90 AC in a different slot, like just in my armor in general, it wouldn't be as effective as it being in the shield because of the way the shield calculates mitigations. If I do my stats, I need to save my stats. So right now it says avoidance 785, shield 270. If I take the shield off and update it, that 270 is gone. So it makes a big difference. So with all that said, I'm pretty much gonna go with, like, I need to get the AC to about 550, so I'm gonna have to like move some Augs around, probably buy some lower level gear, but I basically got the focus effects I need. I'm gonna work that out on my casters. I'm gonna just finish up real quick, and then I'll turn the stream off, and then I won't stream again until I get this closer. Basically, on the cleric, I'm just gonna make sure I got like something with that makes my spells, the focus effect, efficient, um, improve dodge, and oh, increase the healing. I don't know right off the bat what item does that. I will figure it out. I know something has a healing focus effect, so I'm going to do that for the ranger and the shaman. The shaman, the main item is the raid arms. The raid arms have a slow clicky, which is basically the same one. So even though this is like solitaire arms, it's not going to hurt by having these. So I'll use this to slow the mob for the first time. It only lasts 2 minutes. And then a very good item from in this game, Del B. This is actually on live playing the time, the slow clicky. I use this to cast a long duration slow. I mean, it's 6 minutes by default, but with focus effects, it goes up to, and AAs, it's like a 10-minute slow. So I use that as my secondary slow. So I am always using that. I'll actually probably use that instead of 3.0. So I'm going to downgrade these guys HP and mana to some level, but I just need to keep those various focus effects. And like this Reen has twin casting. I don't think I'll be using twin casting because you don't really get any twin casting until the end of Dreadspire, and even then it's a rare item. So that's the casters. For the ranger, DPS wise, I'm gonna stick with the Dranic bow. Again, I'm farming the nest, but as I always say, you pretty much need like the next level of stats to, or gear. So I'm gonna use this, but it's not gonna have any Augs in there, and I'm not gonna use this fancy arrow. I'm gonna use the other arrow to make it a little bit more fair. And then I just need to keep something like sharpshooting. And that's pretty much it for the ranger. And then I'll just do whatever to get my HP down to a level that's comparable to the warrior. The rogue is a little bit of a challenge because I can't get the 2.5 epic on it. The dagger from Dranic is very hard to get, and it's basically like a 2.75 epic. I think the 2.0 has, or sorry, not the 2.0, the 2.5 has somewhere like 110 backstab damage, where this has 125. So I think I'm going to use this Dranic weapon as my main hand. I could almost use the Frost Grip dagger because, well, that's a tier 6, but this one has 117. The only problem with using this dagger is that it has the Widowmaker effect, which increases melee crit damage by 25%, so I can't have that. So that makes that dagger not usable. And then the Dreadspire dagger would be too low. I wouldn't be doing good damage, so we're going to use Widowmaker, no Augs, and then find a really crappy offhand to kind of offset that. And then lastly, the Bard doesn't do much DPS anyway, but I'm going to have to keep the Epic for the Scening mod. I don't know if it's needed necessarily for the server. Trying to see, where does it say on here that it has the Scening? No, the other epics for the Bard have maybe the Scening really hasn't had Scening. But, Ah, interesting. Oh, basically, again, I would downgrade armor. And one thing is spells. Like I have the Frost Crypt version, raid version of spells. I'm gonna just use like the Dranic spell, so I'm gonna use Dranic heals. There's not a huge difference for the Shaman and the Cleric, but I'll use the Dranic version of the heals, not the Frost Crypt. But the Bard, I'm just gonna use the Dranic version. Which, by the way, pretty much the songs I use, you could level tune to 75, and you would have the spells I use. One's a haste. I think the only difference is that it has a skilled damage modifier with the raid ones. This is actually the Solitaire's version. Uh, Melee mitigation song. I know there's a non-raid version. A magic absorb. No, pretty sure there's a non-version. Over haste. I know there's a non-raid version. And then a group proc. But I'll downgrade the songs. I'll go over all that when I'm ready. So I'm gonna end stream here. Hopefully some people check this out or at least reference this when I do the other stuff to know how I came to the conclusion.